Good evening. Thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you to Women for Kansas for putting on this event. I remember when I was here in 2014, I commented that I have 6 sisters, so I always get a little nervous when I'm in a room filled with women. I'm sure it's just a matter of time before someone starts picking on me. I'd like to acknowledge my wife, Sybil, who's here tonight and has been supportive. Without Sybil, I wouldn't be doing this. I'd also just like to share a little bit about my background. You know, I grew up in a single-parent family with a very strong mother and 5 brothers and sisters. I came by my interest in politics honestly. My maternal grandfather was Hubert Humphrey's top aide for 25 years. In fact, he held the Bible when Humphrey was inaugurated vice president. My mom was a nurse. She was in the nurses union. Given her family history, she was very much a Democrat. I did lots of youth and government programs as a kid. I remember coming home after meeting Ronald Reagan at the White House and telling my dad I might want to be a politician someday. He suggested I skip the internship and go straight into crime. My dad clearly was a Republican, so I tell people becoming an independent might have been a way to bridge my mother and my father. You know, I think everybody in this room intuitively knows that over the last 10 years, something has gone very wrong in Kansas. I'm concerned that what happens over the next 4 years is really going to determine the path our state's on for the next several decades. And I want my 2 daughters and all our sons and daughters and grandchildren to feel inspired to build their lives in Kansas. That's what this race is about for me. That's why I'm running. And I, again, welcome the opportunity to be here and answer your questions.
Yeah, I also want to thank the organizers of this event. I too was here 4 years ago at the inaugural event, and it was fabulous, and I'm glad to see that you all are still going strong, because there's nothing that makes me happier than to be in a room full of powerful women. I also do want to say on behalf of my opponent, Chris Kobach, he's sorry he can't be here tonight, but he had some CLE classes, and I think they were scheduled for tonight, so otherwise I'm sure he'd be here with us. Anyway, I am Laura Kelly. I'm a state senator, but on the side, I'm also a wife and a mother. I actually grew up in a military family. By the time I was 6, I had lived on 3 continents. As a matter of fact, my very first language was Japanese. To this day, the only word I remember is yakamashi, and I believe it to mean shut up. I think it was because I was the youngest of 3, and that's probably what I heard all day long. So we kept moving. In fact, by the time I was 15, I'd moved at least 12 times and gone to I don't know how many schools. So when my husband and I had our first child, we were living in Denver, we really wanted to establish some roots. And we looked around, and we chose Kansas. And we came to Kansas because of the good job opportunities that we had, that strong sense of community that you find in Kansas like you find nowhere else, but primarily for the great public schools. And both of my daughters got a world-class education because of teachers and schools that were available to them here in Kansas. And that is why I'm running for governor. I want every Kansas child, no matter who they are or where they live, to have the same opportunities to succeed. Now, you know, for the last 8 years, I'm not telling you anything new, Kansas has been in a world of hurt. It doesn't matter where you look. You can look at our schools. You can also look at our roads. You can look at our health care, and you can look at our economy. It has all been devastated. So now we have a very important choice. Do we end the Sam Brownback experiment once and for all and continue? And continue on the road to recovery? Or do we go backwards and elect Chris Kobach, who you know to be nothing but Sam Brownback on steroids. Exactly. This is a pivotal election for our state, and you have a very clear choice. I've spent my life working to better the lives of others, especially children and families. And I have a strong record of bringing together Republicans and Democrats to solve problems facing our state. And I have been a fierce advocate for the issues important to so many of you: healthcare, jobs, our roads, our environment, and much more. This is the time to slam the door on the Sam Brownback experiment once and for all. And if we work together, we can rebuild our state for our children and our grandchildren.